So today we are going through every quarterback that the Indianapolis Colts will be facing in the 2023 NFL season. Starting from 14, going all the way up to 1. We'll be breaking down every single quarterback, how threatening they are to Indianapolis, and I'm going to be including, in my rankings, I'm going to be including their situation, how good they are with this, with that, what point of the season is it in, because with a guy like Deshaun Watson, we're playing against the Cleveland Browns. Playing him later in the season, maybe he has Russ almost all knocked off and he's playing where he was before that fiasco. You play him early, it might be a different story. So, let's not waste too much more time. I want to get into this list. So, if you enjoy Colts football, NFL ball, make sure you like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. You will not regret it. It's a great place to just chill out, relax, watch me rage when you watch live reactions. It's a good time. It's a good place. It's a great community. If you want people to talk football with, join the Discord. It's an incredible community. You'll love it. So, let's not waste too much more of your time. Let's get right into the list. Number 14, I have Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. Either or, whoever is starting, I'm confident in keeping them down here at 14. Baker Mayfield at this point, he's kind of like a backup. So, he has a talent to be a great starter, a very good starter. The issue is, doesn't have it up here. That's where he loses. He has a hard time keeping his mechanics consistent, staying consistent in general, and he lets the media get to him too much. I love the fire that he has. I love when a player has that kind of fire, but he expresses it in the wrong way, and he lets it get to him up here, and that's where he loses. But he's incredible talent. He has one of the biggest arms in the league. Huge arm. He can sling that thing 70 yards with ease. But he doesn't have it up here, and that's what kills him. That's what absolutely kills his play. And we've seen when he has played good, when he has been good, wow, he is good. But when he's bad, he's pretty bad. And in those bad games, there's a lot more bad than good now. So that's where I'm at with Baker Mayfield. Kyle Trask, we don't really know too much about. He hasn't played much. Wasn't too crazy about him coming out of Florida. I didn't think he was a very good prospect. But I think it was worth, if you're going to have him sit behind anyone, I think Tom Brady is one of the best players you could have him sit behind and learn from. But Kyle Trask I don't think he has it. We'll see. Hopefully he gets a chance. I wonder who we will be playing in Week 12. Maybe Baker Mayfield starts Week 1 and Trask is in by Week 12. And maybe one of these two guys will be starting by Week 12 because the other one just wasn't performing. And they had one of those really damn good games where, yeah. And then after that game, they play total crap. I could see that happening because the Colts have a really bad secondary. It's not that it's bad and has no talent. It's just that it's very inexperienced. None of them have any experience except for Delias Flowers, who probably has a total of 10 snaps at cornerback, 10, 15, 20. And that's nothing. So, I think both of these quarterbacks, respectively, should be down here at 14. Then you move on from Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. We're moving on to number 13. Carolina Panthers, rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. So we will be playing him Week 9. So I think that matters a little bit, but not too much. We're playing him Week 9. So he's going to have some experience under his belt. He's seen some defenses. And coming out of college, if he was 6 foot, 6'1", just a little bit bigger, I think he'd be a generational talent. Or close to it. Maybe not generational, but he'd be close to it. He'd be very, very, very good player. Just that size hurts, man. Is he going to be able to make it a Week 9? We're going to really see, when he's really getting hit up the middle. Because, the Panthers have some pretty good tackles. Now, the guards and interior, that's where it kind of becomes iffy. The wires become trendy and choppy. You don't know what's going to happen. The middle is not very good. And I think that's where the Colts are really going to get the best of Bryce Young. They have a very good interior defensive line. They push those guys up, make it difficult for that interior line to create those throwing lanes, to create those easy looks for Bryce Young. I think that's what's going to hurt Bryce Young. Even though there's good tackles, I think Bryce Young's best bet is to probably put him in a bootleg system or something where he gets out of the pocket, because he's probably going to thrive the best outside the pocket. And because he's so small, it's going to be hard for him to see over these guys up front who are 6'5", 6'8". It's going to be difficult. And when you have an interior defense line like the Colts is going to make it very difficult. Hopefully, the edge room can get better because the edge position is a bit lackluster. It was good last year. It was good. It was nothing special. Hopefully, they can make the next step up because the secondary is really going to need it. The secondary is so inexperienced that it's really going to hinder them, and we're going to see it, times throughout the season when we're playing guys like Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford. If he's healthy, Trevor Lawrence always kills us. Some of these guys are really going to pick us apart. So, Bryce Young, though, that inexperience is going to help the Colts a little bit. He's smaller. He's going to be, he's still learning. I don't think he's that too much of a threat. Now, Desmond Ridder, next one on this list at 12. We're playing them 16. And I kind of thought to myself about switching Bryce Young and Desmond Ridder. Maybe they should be switched because by week 16, you have a lot more tape on this offense. And I think the Falcons could be one of those teams that really start off strong in the first half of the season. Wow, the Falcons are here. The Falcons are a good team. I think that's going to be the best team in that division for the first half. And I think that they have a good chance to win that division. But I think that they're going to kind of cool off towards the end of the season. So maybe that would give the Colts some kind of opportunity to watch the film, see what Desmond Ridder really struggles against, and see if they can attack him that way. And, Desmond Ridder has a very good situation around him, though. I think that's why I kept him over Bryce Young. Desmond Ridder, he has a lot, he has some nice talent. He can run. He's pretty fast. He's got a nice arm. He's got to work on mechanics. I guess we will see how he does that this year, how he improves. But Desmond Ridder has a much better situation, running game, coach-wise, just to scheme it up. I think Ridder's going to benefit from having a much better situation, and I think that's why he's a bigger threat to the Colts than Bryce Young. Then you have number 11. You have C.J. Stroud. We're playing him in the Texans weeks 2 and 15, and I think playing him so far apart is going to make a difference. Playing in week 2, I think having a quarterback that has experience, that has that much experience in college, that has, knows how to look at a defense, knows how to study a defense. Now, he may struggle at reads because the Ohio State offense is really built for a quarterback to play within structure. And if something breaks down, the offensive line breaks down, it's, there's not really too much leeway. There's not really a way for them to bail out, or they're not really taught to look this way or the other way. They're kind of, the offense is way too simplified, and it's supposed to really help quarterbacks. Unlike Bama, it's the opposite. It's meant to challenge the quarterbacks and really make them work to get every yard. Now, Ohio State, I'm not saying you don't work to get every yard. I'm just saying that, it's a lot more simplified. So coming to the NFL, I think it's all going to be very fast for C.J. Stroud. But I think playing this, I think he has a good situation around him. I think the offensive line is much better than people give it credit for. The skill group he has around him is not bad. You have Damian Pierce, Nathaniel Dell at wide receiver. Nico Collins is heading into a couple years now of experience. I think this Houston team is a lot better than people give it credit for, and I guess we're going to see how C.J. Stroud kind of transitions to the NFL. If he transitions well, I think the Texans could be a 9+ win team. Honestly, if I don't know if I'm the only person that is this high on the Texans, but I think they could surprise some people. So the Texans, C.J. Stroud, I have him at 11. Pretty decent threat to the Indianapolis Colts considering the situation he has around him and how little experience the Colts secondary has. Now the defensive line could maybe get to him, the interior, but I mean, if you look, his pocket presence is going to be good enough, I think. But I guess we'll see how he plays under pressure, because he really played well under pressure, in the Georgia game, but he really struggled at other times. Wasn't consistent with it at all. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the nation under pressure. Now, could that be because of how simplified the Ohio State offense is? Maybe. So, then you move on to Mac Jones at number 10. We're playing him week 10 against the New England Patriots, of course. So, Mac Jones, I think he's an okay quarterback. Last year, really didn't have a chance with Matt Patricia calling the plays. Yeah, that was horrible. That was like, come on, man, get Mac Jones a real play caller that knows how to call offensive plays. So they got that, and hopefully, this will help Mac Jones out a lot, and I think it will. I think Mac Jones is one of those quarterbacks that you're never going to be the best in the league. You're never going to be the worst in the league. Average all the way through. It's just going to plateau. And the NFL plateauing, I mean, it's not ideal because you become mediocre. You are always getting picks, in the mid-first round. You're not really getting blue-chip talent. I mean, you could, absolutely, but it's a lot lower of a chance. Sometimes there's much lesser talent than what it is on the surface. But Mac Jones, the offensive line is going to be good enough, which is going to make it very difficult for the Colts secondary to take care of what they need to take care of. And I think that's why Mac Jones is... I could see him tearing up this defense. I could see any quarterback that has some experience, that can anticipate, that can make an accurate throw. I think they might tear up this defense this year. This might be one of the worst passing defenses this year, so be prepared for that. As long as the other team has a half-decent offensive line and can get the ball out quick, probably going to be one of the worst passing defenses in the entire NFL. It's probably going to be pretty bad. Throat was freaking dry and burning. So, Jimmy G is next at number 9. He's with the Raiders now. Now, I think he's a little more of a threat than Mac Jones because he has a little more experience, and I think he has shown more. He has been to the big game. He has done big things. Now, has he ever played like a top 5, top 10 quarterback? No, but he finds ways to get it done, and he's also in a situation with Josh McDaniels, who is a good play caller, who can get it figured out with him. So I think that is a very good sign, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to tear up. I think they're going to figure that offensive line out a little bit. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be good. Probably going to be maybe just enough for Jimmy Garoppolo to probably torch this defense. I'm telling you, a lot of quarterbacks are going to probably torch this defense this year, honestly, especially passing-wise. Then you got Kenny Pickett, who has an even better situation. The offensive line is better. The weapons are better. The running back is very good. You can run. You can catch. There's so many good things that Kenny Pickett has going for him. He has one of the best coaches in the National Football League history. Now, I don't think he's really up there with the Bill Belichick's, Dan Shula's yet, but I think he's very good. And if he could win another Super Bowl, get another conference championship under his belt at least, I think he could go down as I think you could put him up in that conversation. He always finds a way. It doesn't matter who's on the team. He always finds a way, or how bad the team is, how much talent is on the team, always finds a way to get it done. They're always one of the most consistent teams in the National Football League. Over the past, Mike Tomlin's been coaching for a long time now, and I don't think he's even had one below 100 season, or he might have had one. It just goes to show how impressive he is at coaching and getting these men ready to play ball. Very good coach. And I think that's very important for Kenny Pickett, because do I think Kenny Pickett is an elite quarterback? No. Do I think he can be a very good quarterback under these circumstances, under the right circumstances? Absolutely. And that will be enough to torch this Colts defense, probably. Unless we see one of these guys bloom early, and Julius Brents or Darius Rush like a Sauce Gardner, it's going to be rough sledding for the passing defense. And especially last year when we thought we had better talent, we had experience, the cover 3 system just struggles against good offensive lines, a well-oiled machine. Offensively, it struggles against when you call too much of it as well. Doesn't help. Then number 7, you have Ryan Tannehill. He's a decent quarterback. I think people give him a little too much crap. And understandably, I think he really benefits off of Derrick Henry, and he has benefited off of very good teams and a good coach in the past. Now, doesn't really have much. The offensive line isn't really there. The receiving core is pretty bad. Derrick Henry isn't going to be Derrick Henry for forever. So I think he takes a step back, and I think he's even worse. But do I think Will Levis starts over him? Absolutely not. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be a starter most of the year. Maybe the Colts meet Will Levis in Week 13. Maybe. But I think Ryan Tannehill is going to start. He's going to keep it for now. And I think, doing these rollouts, even though the weapons aren't great, you can do these rollouts. They drafted Tyjae Spears. Incredible draft pick. He's a very good receiving back, elusive. I think he could give the Colts problems. Derrick Henry as well, of course. But I think that, just because of how inexperienced this Colts cornerback room is, I don't really think it matters. whose receivers you're going up against, because the Titans receivers, they have some experience. So, and they've also have a really good coach that can get them ready to play no matter what. So, I don't think he's going to torch the Colts passing defense, but he'll probably do a pretty good job and enough to beat them. So he's a decent threat. He's better than he has more experience and stuff than these other guys on the list. So then you have Deshaun Watson, week 7. Now, if this was week 15, 16, and Deshaun Watson became one of the best, he's back to Deshaun Watson, back to what he was before the whole fiasco with the massage parlor and whatever. I'm not getting into it, but if he could return to somewhat form like that, I will put him maybe at number 3, and we'll see who those guys are up there in a moment. But Deshaun Watson, I think by week 7, I think he has started to get a groove going. This Cleveland Browns team is a very good team. It's a very good roster. I think people are really underestimating this Browns team. I think they're going to be good. So watch out for the Browns. They could possibly be a contender if Deshaun Watson can knock that rust off and become, maybe 3/4 of what he was before all that happened. And I think the Browns could be a very strong football team. And now they are in a very tough division, so that's tough. But I think he'd get it figured out. And that team is so good. If he did get it figured out early, I think there's a chance that there could be a three-way race for the crown of the NFC North between the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns. Now, the Steelers, I think they're going to be very good. I just think that these other 3 teams are going to finish ahead of them. And I think if there's a year when all 4 teams from one division makes the playoffs, I think this could be it with the NFC North. But what also hurts that is the AFC East is a very strong division. You have, 3 out of 4 teams that are probably going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Patriots are going to make it, but I do think that Dolphins, Jets, and Bills all have a really good shot. I think any 3 of those teams can win that division. Honestly, I don't see the Bills as they were last year. I think they're going to take a step back, and there's going to be a 3-way race for that division crown. All right, then you have. All right, we just talked about Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson can get it figured out, man, because I really hope so, because I like him, and he's a fun player to watch. Now, do I hope he kills the Colts? No, but whether he's back to whether he shook all the rust off or not, he's still probably going to have a pretty damn good game because of the inexperience and how much Watson has played and how talented he is. Probably going to be pretty bad, but if he has all that rust off, I could put him at number 3, or even number 2. I'd be, I don't know. Number 2 might be pushing it, but then you move on from Deshaun Watson. You have Derek Carr. You may be asking me, why do you have Derek Carr so high? Why do you have him over Deshaun Watson and these guys? Well, look at what Derek Carr has done with damn near nothing in Vegas for a decade. He was really the only reason why the Raiders were ever talked about over the last 10, 15 years. Let's be honest. Or, since he's been there, if there's no Derek Carr, who are the Raiders? They're probably like the Cleveland Browns. So now that he's in a much more stable franchise, much more talent around him, nice supporting cast, nice offensive line, nice weapons, really nice weapons, honestly. Good running backs. We don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara, but we do know that they drafted Kendry Miller, who is a very good insurance policy, similar to Kamara. I think that was a sneaky draft pick. I think Carr is just in a very good situation, and I think him and that Saints offense will absolutely demolish this defense. I don't think that game will actually be close if Derek Carr is anything of Derek Carr he's been. I think Derek Carr is very underappreciated. Now, do I think he's elite? Do I think he's all-pro? No. But he has done a freaking lot for how much he had in Vegas since he's arrived there. Or Oakland. All right, so Derek Carr, he's a very good quarterback. Don't underappreciate him. Now, if he does play bad this year, I will eat words. I will eat my words. I will eat crow, but I like him. Give him a shot. So, then you have Trevor Lawrence ahead of Derek Carr. Now, I do have a surprise up here at number 3, but Trevor Lawrence, I feel like he's still got something to prove. I like him, and when he is good, man, is he good. He's one of the best in the league. He's very hard to stop. But when he's bad, he's pretty bad. You know, you look at this last year, and you've had times where he was very good in one quarter, or he was very good in this quarter, very good in this half, very good these 2 games, then the next 2 games he struggled. He's wildly inconsistent, and the Chargers and Jaguars game is a perfect example. That first half of the Chargers game, he threw like 3 interceptions. He didn't know what he was doing. And you're kind of like, oh, who is this? What is he doing? What is going on? These are the Jaguars we know. But then all of a sudden, after halftime, the dude just flips a switch and he's like, who is this? Where did this come from? If Trevor Lawrence can be the re-Fort of what he was in that second half of the Chargers game consistently, he'd be a top 10 quarterback without a doubt. Without a doubt. But he's got to find consistency. That's where he struggles. But the Jaguars will always kill the Colts. And with how inexperienced, I keep saying it, but the cornerback room, how little experience, and that's going to be the main theme all this year. You know, the passing defense is probably going to suck ass. It's probably going to be shit. Horse shit. All right, that's enough cursing. I'm sorry, but that's how bad it's probably going to be. It's going to be horrendous. Like I said, unless someone emerges out of nowhere, something crazy happens, fine, I'll take it. But from what I see, very inexperienced, and you can't expect a cornerback to have a rookie year like a Sauce Gardner every year. You can't. It's not realistic. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, man, if he's a big threat to the Colts, because whether he's consistent or not, all he has to do is do what he did for a half of what he did against the Chargers, and he'll beat the Colts both times without a problem. But if he's consistent, the Colts don't have a chance either game. Although I think the Colts week 1, I think starting the season, the Colts are going to be one of those teams that you're like, wow, we didn't expect them to be this good. We didn't expect them to start this fast, but they're going to tune down, because think of an offense like that. Think of how you're going to watch film and study for an offense in which, you have a new head coach and Shane Steichen. You could study tendencies from Philly, but now he's got Anthony Richardson, a whole new quarterback, a whole new different face. How could you watch film for Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen, and the offense when there's nothing out there in them? Nothing. It's very difficult, and that can make it very difficult for teams to plan for that early on in the season. If you guys hear those crickets, I am sorry. They are horrible. My beer dragon. Alright, let's move on. Number 3, Matthew Stafford. I know, you may be asking yourself, you have Matthew Stafford up at 3 over Trevor Lawrence? Yes, let me tell you why. A healthy Matthew Stafford. Very consistent, very good. Now that I'm thinking about it more, though, maybe he belongs behind Trevor Lawrence, because what he has around him isn't very impressive. Although, look at what he did in Detroit for quite some time, with not much around him at all. He was still one of the better quarterbacks over the last decade and a half. I don't remember when he was drafted. I'm just going to say decade and a half. He's been one of the best quarterbacks. Played at a very high level with not much. So considering he has a much better offensive-minded coach, considering he has Cooper Kupp, a few weapons, offensive line is pretty rough. Defense is pretty rough. But we're just talking about him playing our defense. If our defense line has one of those games where they struggle, Matthew Stafford can absolutely be a bigger threat than Trevor Lawrence. And if you ask me, I take a healthy Matthew Stafford over Trevor Lawrence for a year. Now, if you're talking about building a franchise, obviously Lawrence, he's younger, all that. But a healthy Matthew Stafford, I think it's kind of a bold take, hot take, is a better quarterback. I think I'd rather him when he's healthy over a wildly inconsistent Trevor Lawrence, because you know what you're getting from Matthew Stafford. You know what he can do. He's going to help you win games. He's going to win games for you. Number 2, you have Lamar Jackson. We all know how it is playing Lamar. I don't think I really need to explain it too much. Now, you look at his supporting cast now. He has some pretty incredible weapons. OBJ, they signed a few other people too. Some other guys. They have some faces in that room. And Lamar Jackson is one of those guys. He is him. Crazy running. If this defense can't stay disciplined, if the defense line can't, guess we'll see how Gus Bradley's system does against Lamar Jackson. I think it's going to struggle. I think this team is really going to struggle. We'll see how Darius Leonard's feeling. at this point. So they're playing in week 3. So I guess we'll see if Leonard's playing or not. I would hope so. But yeah, I think, we all know Lamar Jackson has an arm. He was one of the most electric players in the entire NFL, if not the most, in terms of just running ability and throwing. Lamar Jackson is just wild, and he's going to be very difficult for this secondary and team in general to do anything against him. This game could be a blowout, honestly. I could see it. And then, number 1, Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow. He's the best player. He's the best quarterback that the Colts will face in 2023. We all know Burrow. Cool, calm, collected under pressure. Nothing gets to him. He finds ways, whether he has a great offensive line or not. He has great weapons. He gets it to him. He finds a way to win. And this Colts secondary this is going to be a very good game for them in a way of learning and bad experiences and what not to do, because Joe Burrow will light their asses up like a Christmas tree. So, yeah. Joe Burrow, I don't think I really need to explain it too much more. Like I said, I fully expect this passing defense to be pretty bad. Yeah, we have a good safety and we have Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore isn't consistent himself. So, we will see where the season takes us. And I want you guys to let me know what you think about this quarterback list of mine. Do you agree? Do you think it's stupid? What would you change about it? Give me your own list in the comment section below. So, if you enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. This is JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.